call the June 22nd planning meeting to order. We have a roll call, please.
Mr. Cappers? Mayor?
Here.
Mr. Wolke?
Here.
Mr. Titterington?
Here.
Mr. McGarry?
Here.
Mrs. Mahan? Mr. Forrest?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, I think everyone's had a chance to review the minutes from the May 25th meeting. Is there any changes? If not, we'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
So,
So
move and
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thing on agenda today is rezoning application part of outlot 119 and 120 consisting of 2.6942 acres of abandoned railroad property located south of East Race Drive, abutting the lots of address 910 East Ross and drive to, is that 112 East Race Street?
1112.
Yeah.
1112.
1000.
Rezoning is from R5 Single Family Residential District to M1 Light Industry, M2 Light Industry. Got a staff report.
Yes, we do. Thank you. Bill Horstman from Habitat for Humanity of Miami and Shelby County is here in the audience. He is the applicant for the rezoning. It does entail the rezoning of parcel D08096-930. There is a map attached to you in your packet. Essentially, it's the lot that's kind of south of Race Drive. It runs behind them. It consumes 2.6942 acres. It's currently surrounded by R5 single-family zoning to the north, east, and west, and M3 General Industrial District. There's a big parcel of that to the south. Essentially give you some background. In 2010, the property had split zoning of R5 and M3, so it was single-family and general industrial. Habitat had a vision. We put that vision in your packet so you could kind of follow along with their thoughts. At that point, there was going to be a road running through it connecting Jeep Street essentially to South Union. It was rezoned to the R5 because of lack of funding. We tried with CDBG and with Habitat. That's no longer a feasible plan. So the second plan, I guess you can call it, would be to have SpectraCam, a local company here located on East Race, is interested in purchasing the property contingent upon the rezoning for expansion of their business. The thing about this property is it's required to have a buffer, which it actually has a natural buffer. We tried to, if you were looking through your packets and you saw the pictures in the back, we were trying to show you the topography of the land. It's very, very steep. There is a great buffer already there. In one of the pictures, I think the timestamp is at it's at 8:38. We actually hired a professional model to stand in the picture just to give you the idea of the topography here and there. For those of you who don't look at the picture, it's actually me in the picture. But that's essentially what we've done. We wanted to give you guys an idea of what is out there.
A model of what? I mean, what kind of model are you talking about?
A professional picture model. of course.
He's kidding.
No, I know. I'm just
Model of planning and zoning expertise, I think, is what is official.
Yeah,
But
it is.
But the land is there. It would be accessible for rezoning. It does comply with the zoning code. I won't read through the entire packet, but we did list the differences between the R5 and the M2, which is being proposed to be rezoned. We feel it does fit the zoning code. We would make the recommendation for approval because it is connecting parcels of M2 with M2. It provides utilization of a property that currently it's difficult to utilize. It does have frontage. If you look at the map, it's just not paved frontage, which would be completed. There is already a buffer, which would be required. A natural buffer is already there. The new usage would meet the M2. It's consistent with the zoning code. And we also are not recommending a public hearing at this time because of the natural grade of the property and the buffer it provides to the residents on East Race Street, East Race Drive.
You talk about a natural buffer, isn't that a railroad embankment?
It is railroad embankment.
Okay.
I don't have the exact measurements, but if you go out there and visit the site, you would notice the huge difference. It provides one of the pictures was kind of show the top of it over the houses, over the roof of the houses, so you know that the embankment is very tall. So
So on page 17 of the PDF, you have the colored pictures where it shows R5 in yellow, and then you have red crosshatch. That is the only area that they're talking about rezoning?
That's correct.
That just looks kind of odd there. Why was that section chosen and not, say, clear down to William Street?
Several reasons. One, probably SpectraCam didn't need the property, and two, it would leave the other portion open for somebody else. It was already parceled off that way, and they just went with the way the parcel was. It does provide room for SpectraCam to provide anything in the back or leave it as natural wooded buffer for them and whatever may develop between them and the M3 to the south, if that ever does develop.
And SpectraCam is in the M3?
They are
large
the
gray?
1112 East Race, the like,
1112.
yeah, the M2. And they have a representative here as well.
And what is that? You have the light M2 right there, and then to the left of it is just a gray area. What is that zoned? Or is that out of town?
That's M3, General Industrial.
Are you talking about the small
To the
Oh,
left,
portion
yes.
that's,
That's M2 as well on our zoning map. On the GIS, it just doesn't show that for some reason, so we've tried to work with Doug to get that fixed.
So
Those are
that's-
those are M2 properties.
Is that not currently a parking where people park? right
Correct,
there?
yes.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
Just to be clear, Habitat owns the property in question to be rezoned.
That's correct.
But that we have a business that would like to purchase that property from Habitat to expand their business, correct?
And that is.
And
contingent
that's
upon the
where,
zoning.
so the M2 would then just connect, it would just be an extension of,
Correct.
and that's what I thought, okay.
Anyone have any other questions?
Well, just to follow up to my earlier question, where the red crosshatch is, I guess maybe what I'm not seeing is 1105. That's a separate parcel owned by somebody else?
Correct, yes, that's a house, yes.
It's a house.
Mm-hmm.
I believe a Habitat home, right, Bill?
I don't know exactly which parcel it was.
I think
It's on
it is.
Jeep
It's on
Street,
Jeep-
1105
Jeep Street.
Jeep Street.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I thought.
All right.
There is
so-
a buffer requirement for that as well. They would have to meet when doing a new building.
Okay.
So they'll be protected by our zoning code as well, at least with a buffer.
Okay, but if you add the buffer to the left of 1105, by the time you add the buffer, there's not that much behind 1112 Race Drive.
They would have, this is a separate parcel, so they could put, should they choose, a separate building on that and have parking run to the back, which I think was part of a plan. Jeep Street, as you can tell, goes out pretty far, the right-of-way there, so they could provide a longer building, whether it's for storage or what they want to do for it. They could do that and then provide parking in the back.
And then my only other comment is that in page 18, you included a proposed Jeep Street extension.
Yes, that was in the packet. Just we wanted to kind of go through the history of why it was actually split zone between industrial and residential. The reason they didn't go the industrial route back in 2010 was because of this plan, which is no longer feasible. That is why they are coming now asking for the.
Just as long as it's clear that we're not commenting on the Jeep Street extension, that's just there anecdotally.
Correct.
I'm trying to remember, was that dedicated, the Jeep Street extension?
No.
It was not.
Mm.
Okay. Ended there.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we not hold a public hearing at the,
Excuse me. Before we do, is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak on it?
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Justice. I'm with the law firm of Duncan Lefevre. I'm here representing Habitat for Humanity as well as the potential purchaser, SpectraCam. We have nothing to add unless you have questions or specific questions. We're happy to answer them. Otherwise, I think the report fairly characterizes what we're seeking and requesting. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
oh, maybe I don't. Make a motion that we not hold a public hearing at the planning commission level.
Get a second?
Second.
Roll
So
call.
yes means no, neither.
Yes means
True.
Yes means no public hearing.
right.
Correct. Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mr. McGarry?
Yes.
Mr. Force?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passed. Commission will not hold a public hearing.
Okay, we're going to want a motion to proceed to
Rezone.
send it to the council.
Recommend to council.
Recommend to council.
Motion to recommend to council. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to recommend to council that the rezoning go from its current to M2.
Need a second?
Second.
Wait a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mr. McGarry?
Yes.
Mr. Force?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Motion is adopted.
What do you want to talk about on Chapter 11 comprehensive plan?
Chapter 6.
Chapter
It's-
six.
Chapter 6.
Yeah, Chapter 6 was handed out the last meeting. Hopefully you guys have reviewed that. If you have comments, we'd be happy to go through that with you.
Could I get a copy of that? I went through the last.
One was not dropped off at your residence?
This is. Here you go. Take yours.
I got one.
I already reviewed it.
Yeah, that's-
You know, this seems pretty, in my opinion, I went through it and straightforward. I know you've worked with the MVRPC too and looked at the whole demographics.
It's just
I-
chapter 6.
It's just chapter 6.
I'm actually the one who was assigned chapter 6, and honestly, we haven't had a glacier recently, so there's not a whole lot of change to the topography, so that was pretty much.
But you're promising 7 will be more exciting?
It's just plain.
7 will be more exciting, yes.
Okay.
We just got this.
Utilities?
7 is utility, so yeah, it's up to you whether or not that's more exciting, but
It's all relative, I guess.
yeah.
Do you have any other?
The other thing is that we handed out chapter 7, so we asked you to review that, and we'd be happy to discuss at the next meeting. We'll make sure if, to deliver those to Alan and Dee.
Entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Do I have any other?
Any objections? Okay,
You're adjourned.